Bucky's Basement. Bucky's Basement.
Welcome to this week's episode of Bucky's Basement. I'm Bucky, and as always in the basement with me today, I have Old Boy.
I could eat a peach for hours.
And Juicebox.
Hallelujah.
And if you haven't figured it out by now, because you have clicked on the link, we are back with another episode of Casting Cage. We are going through Nick Cage movies in chronological order, and we have finally made it to I'm going to say the third volume of the biggest action trilogy that's going to happen, in chronological order.
I think
this entire thing.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you. I think this is Pete Cage.
No, I agree.
Oh, okay,
but this is episode 3 of
I got you. Okay.
the big 3. We're talking The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off.
I agree.
We went through The Rock. It was amazing. We went through Con Air. Obviously, got all of our best ratings. One of 3 movies.
Did I give it my best rating, really?
You did. You did. And it's only one of 3 movies in this entire, exercise we've been doing that's got all of our best ratings.
Damn.
And
Okay. You know what? There's no going back.
Raising Arizona was the first one.
Yep.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart was the second one, and Con Air was the third. But now we're into the third of a trilogy that is Nick Cage peak action. And this week we are reviewing 1997's Face Off.
Face Off.
What do you remember about this movie?
I like from this recent rewatch, or you mean from the past?
Just the past. Like
from the past.
Say we were going, we're going in Casting Cage. We're reviewing Nick Cage movies, and we're coming into Face Off. And I think the week prior, you always think about what was going on in your life or what you remember about these movies in real time. When you were 17, when you were 14, however old you were when Face Off came out in 1997.
15.
Okay, so it's 15. So what do you remember about this in the time?
I distinctly remember. I remember almost everything about the movie. I don't remember some of the animatronic doubles they had. For some reason, maybe my mind blocked that out. But
during
other than
the surgery scenes,
yeah.
But other than that, I distinctly remember this movie. Like, I remember parts about it. I remember how it ended. I remembered everything.
So I also remember it pretty vividly because at the time, like, I'm a couple years older than you guys, so maybe I was a little more, aware of some stuff that came out earlier. But I had watched like other John Woo films, and I was like pretty big fan of like The Killer and Hard Boiled, which were just like 2 of his bigger early films.
Right.
Because I feel like they showed them at the midnight movie, like in my town a lot when I was in high school. So it was just like always something to do, like on a Friday and Saturday, is go check out one of those. Anyway, I remember being real excited about this movie, like being like, oh shit, this is like a John Woo film with like a huge budget and major stars, what I'm saying? So like I think he had done something with, I can't remember for sure, but I think he had done something with John Travolta like before
Broken Arrow.
Okay.
It's the only John Woo film I've ever seen other than Face Off.
Okay.
Really?
I never saw Broken Arrow.
All that to say, I remember being real excited about this movie.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember very much about it at all. I don't think I ever saw it when it came out. I might have seen maybe in college when people were like, "Oh, you want to watch Face Off, right?"
Right.
The one thing I recognize about this movie is, Nick Cage in full like Pope gear, like shouting from a choir.
Yeah.
I remember like that meme's all over the internet. Yeah. Like you can see that. Right. I know the premise of this movie. I knew the name Castor Troy, so I think I have to have seen this movie before because I think that's one of the coolest names in cinema ever. I think if we're ranking names or character names throughout the years in fictional movies,
right?
I think Castor Troy that's my top 3.
Do you remember the rapper Pastor Troy?
I was getting ready to ask the same thing.
Were you really?
Who predated who? Pastor Troy come out after.
Is Pastor Troy the second best name in history?
Damn it! I didn't even think of that.
You didn't think about Pastor Troy? Shit.
No. I didn't at all.
That's
I thought
funny,
that's an incredible name. That's what I remember about the movie. I watched this now, like 2 times, and
Right.
the first time, I remember the beginning and I remember the end. I don't remember anything that happened in between.
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
And I remember
All right.
it being a big pop culture thing, face off, like, this
Yeah.
guy acts as this guy and this guy acts as this guy. And I never really gave it a chance. And it was like one of those movies that escaped me, kind of like Con Air for Old Boy. I just never dove back into it. It wasn't on TBS regularly.
Yeah.
I don't think it was on TNT or any, USA.
I guess it didn't have like Sean Connery in it, so
It didn't.
Nanny's just not interested.
Nanny's not interested in
Nanny
John
was-
Travolta, and I think we share that in common, to be honest with you, after watching this movie.
right.
And a couple of other of his films. I want to get into that, a little bit later on. As mentioned before, Juicebox said the director is John Woo. He's known for a lot of samurai movies, Broken Arrow, and Hard Target, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Wait a minute. He's known for samurai movies?
Or not samurai, but
No, he's like a gun. He's like
Yeah.
the original gun fu guy, like
right.
like what
not kung fu, gung fu.
Right.
gun
yeah.
fu
Yes.
or whatever, like what the
Oh.
John Wick movies, like that's
Okay.
like what
There
that
you
was
go.
like
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of born out of.
That whole jumping sideways, firing 2 guns at once is his signature like thing, and the slow motion doves.
That
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
to me, and I wrote somewhere in my notes throughout this movie is when Nick Cage is jumping out of a trailer. It's like Deadpool. Like if
Yeah.
you watch the
Yeah.
modern Deadpool movies, like it
Right.
reminded me a lot of that. He also directed a movie called Wind Talkers, which also stars Nick Cage, which
What?
we're going to
He
get
d-
to see. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so we get 2
Cool.
John Woo movies in this exercise.
That's
I think that's
exciting.
more of a military type film. All right, so Face Off 1997, it has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, which could be one of the highest movies that we've reviewed so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right under Red Rock West, right?
What did Red Rock West get? Like 96? Like
it
it was like almost
flawless.
a perfect
It was
score.
like flawless. Yeah.
So 7.3 on IMDb, so we're getting a little bit more average there, I
Yeah.
think. The cast, let's get into it. Nick Cage, who we're here to review, plays Castor Troy.
Castor Troy. What a badass name. I do want to say something real quick. We've watched so many freaking movies of Nick Cage. I have become fond of Nick Cage. Like I'm like, that's my boy. Like I'm
He's your Leo?
he he's my Leo.
He's your Leo. That's
Yeah,
that's
he's my
awesome. That's
boy.
why we
He
do
is
this.
my boy. I was like, man, I was happy. Like he came on the screen. I was like, hell yeah, dude. Like kill that kid.
No.
Get him, Nick. Yeah.
I think that's why we're here. That's why we do this exercise.
Right.
That excites
That's
me
my-
to hear
That's my boy.
that Nick Cage is now your boy.
Hell yeah.
So
I want
if
to
you
drink
could
a beer with Nick Cage.
yeah, if you could retroact and go back,
No, no.
I want to know
no.
if Nick Cage is your boy in every one of these
No.
movies.
That's what being boys. You point out their mistakes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Talk to him about it, right?
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
We'll see if Nick Cage is still your boy as we move forward into City of
Absolutely.
Angels and bringing out the dead and, some
Yeah.
things like that.
yeah. All
All right, fair enough. That's not why we're here today. We're here to talk about Nick Cage's Castor Troy. His nemesis or arch rival is played by John Travolta. This is the character Sean Archer, which this is going to be tough for me, guys.
Is that your boy?
I'm a real take here. I fucking hate John Travolta.
Oh,
you
dude.
hate John Travolta?
I'm
I
not really
hate
a
him.
John Travolta fan either, man. And honestly, like, I wasn't a huge John Travolta fan to begin with, but like now he's like, you find out he's like super creepy in real life and shit.
Is
like,
he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I just like literally
Just hate him in this movie?
actor John Travolta, I can't stand.
Yeah.
I went back and thought about it. Pulp Fiction, I really
He's
can't stand
okay.
him in that movie.
He's okay.
See, I think
he's
you
the
have-
weakest link in that movie.
You have to blame Quentin Tarantino for even bringing him back from like obscurity
You're
because
right.
he was doing like Look
Look
Who's
Who's
Talking
Talking,
and like
yeah.
other like smaller time movies.
I think he does a good job in this, and I'll explain why.
We want to talk about it. Up next, I got Gina Gershon as Sasha. The only reason I put her up there is because I'm a big Gina Gershon fan.
Huge.
Joan Allen plays Eve Archer. She is extremely recognizable.
Like I feel like Joan Allen has been like 42 for like her entire career. I feel like she looked exactly the same like to this day.
It's a great take on her. Up next,
it's not an insult. It's just like she just has a certain look. I feel like
this next actor is fun for me. The guy who plays Pollux Troy in this movie, Castor Troy's brother, is Alessandro Nivola, and
who is that dude?
So he has recently popped up in a movie that was encouraged to me by one of our friends to see. I guess it was in the Sopranos universe. It was called The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh yeah,
the dude plays the main dude.
The Moltisanti
in many.
That's him.
That's him.
That's him.
That is him. It's crazy.
He's like, Christopher's father.
Yes.
How about that?
You have to like really see and look at both of them on the internet side by side, but it's crazy.
That dude's a good actor.
Yeah, that's how long ago it was.
Wow.
So
killed it.
Also, we've got Bunny Colvin in this movie.
Again, who is he?
Who plays John Travolta's friend? Bunny Colvin. He's one of the main captains in The Wire.
I didn't see The Wire.
His name's Robert Wisdom.
Yes, gotcha. We saw him one time at Moss Tacos in East Nashville. Were you there?
Yeah, was it? Man, I forgot about
one
that.
This is how new like Twitter was, right? So one of our buddies is at a table, and we see Bunny Colvin there, and we found out his real name and his Twitter handle, and he tweets him from a table. And like within 5 minutes, this dude walks over to our table and says, "What's up?"
Yeah,
like
dang.
It's crazy.
That is wild.
Anyway, Bunny Colvin plays, I guess,
his buddy,
Sean Archer's buddy. Like cop buddy, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I know who he is.
Until he gets set on fire,
right?
In one of the most devastating murders in the movie, which is very brief. We had another member of The Wire in this movie. Juicebox was bringing this up. He's in the second season. He's like the contractor, carpenter. Obviously, you look lost.
Yeah.
You need to go back and watch.
He works at the port. His name's like Zabatka or something like that in The Wire. I'm trying to figure out what his name is in real life. Yeah, because I recognized him. Actually, it took me into my second watch through to like recognize that dude. Because the first time he's like, beat up half the time. So it's hard to tell what he looks like.
You need to watch The Wire.
I tried to watch it a few different times, and I tried to get through the first episode, and it's in that older format that's not made for widescreen, so it's a little tough. But then, like they're talking, like it starts out. I've attempted it quite a few times. It starts out with is it McNulty?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah,
yeah. I've tried it, and he's talking to some kid. He's calling him like Snot Boogie or something. I can't remember. And I was like, I don't know. Like I don't know. I'm sure it gets better like most things, but I just struggle with getting through the first season.
Fair enough. All right. That's not why we're here. We're here to review 1997's John Woo's Face Off.
Yep.
We like to do this segment on Bucky's Basement when we do these Casting Cage episodes where we read through the plot of the movie that we're about to get into, and then we kick it back to Juicebox for his idea or version of what he thinks the plot should be in a segment we like to call
Plot by Juicebox.
To foil a terrorist plot, FBI agent Sean Archer assumes the identity of the criminal Castor Troy, who murdered his son, through facial transplant surgery, but the crook wakes up prematurely and vows revenge. That was like hard to even read.
It kind of makes the criminal sound like the good guy.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so mine is just something a little bit more simple. Face Off. A psychopath trades places with a psychopath, shoots up a city, kills a mom, adopts a kid.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, let's get into it. The opening scene in Face Off is oddly a flashback, and I wasn't a big fan of this. Like, you open a movie.
It's a flashback. It just starts. It's
definitely a flashback because there's some kind of like foil over it.
But for there to be a flashback, you have to start somewhere and then go back.
Yeah, it's back in time.
It's just back in time. It starts in the past.
It's 1991.
Right. But you can obviously tell as the viewer it's the past. That's
right.
what I'm saying.
But after it says 5 years in the future.
Okay, anyway. We meet Sean Archer in some kind of county fair or something, and his kid gets shot by Nick Cage in a mustache, but he gets shot through Sean Archer.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that mustache was real? I'm asking for a friend.
It looks better than yours.
It looked good on him.
I don't feel his was real, and I don't feel yours is full.
Deserves to be.
So I have a question.
Yep.
Like, there's never really any backstory of these guys' history, right?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Because
No.
it just starts with him shooting Sean Archer and killing his kid.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Through
that's
him.
That's the beginning of the movie. And like later on in the movie, they show like every once in a while they would show the computer screen and there would be like all these words on the computer
Right,
screen.
yeah.
So I paused it a couple times on some of those, and there's one for his kid, and it says like talks about how or how he was killed by Castor Troy or whatever, and it's like, how did they fucking know that it was Castor Troy that shot this dude
idea.
in the first place? Like,
No
what?
idea.
Like,
Did he get away? Did he get caught?
Obviously, he got away.
Yeah, he got
right?
away. Yeah.
He got away, but they've got to figure out that he was the one who did it. So
Castor
Was there
Troy seems like
cameras?
the type.
It
that
was
prob-
1991. There was probably not cameras. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there was. There's no explanation of that, but it's just like that he automatically knew that it was this dude that like shot
Right.
him.
He seems the type. He probably left his gun there with a note. You know,
Yeah.
he just seems like the type.
So he seems a lot less unhinged in this beginning scene because he like obviously is showing remorse after shooting the kid, right? Like he shoots
Right.
the kid and
Little
he's
bit.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I read that as remorse. And then the very next scene, he's setting up a bomb that's going to kill thousands and thousands of people. Like,
an entire city.
yeah,
Right.
plenty of kids. No, like no worries. Like,
Right. Yeah. It really sunk in.
The one thing that I noticed that started to wear on me throughout this movie, and I have an actual count, is when the kid gets shot and he's laying on the ground, Sean Archer, or John Travolta's character, is the first face rub.
The
he's
face
the
wipe?
face scrape or face wipe,
I call it
whatever you
face
want to
wipe.
call it.
Yeah.
I can't stand that shit.
Uh,
and I've got
You're just
like
gonna jump right into the face wipe.
no, yeah.
Okay, because I understand it's like a familial gesture, but I too don't want anybody's hand on. I got to think about people touching my face, and then
Yeah.
with their fingers rubbing over my lips.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
No.
a big no.
9 total face wipes or face scrapes in
You
this
counted
movie.
all the
9.
face wipes.
Are you counting the half one where he almost did the face wipe on Tina Gershon?
Yeah, he almost did.
Sorry, 9.5 face scrapes in this movie. It just got repetitive. You do it once and it's cool, and then it just kind of got overblown. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So we see the opening scene, and then we get the whole letters on the screen that says 6 years later, so the audience can keep
Okay,
up.
yeah.
We're still searching for this shooter, and like old boy said, he is in, I guess we find out later it's a convention center, and he's setting a bomb, and he's dressed like a priest, and then
I guess that's the cover. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like some kind of choir,
Yeah,
like
something going on
choir
there.
convention going on.
but
or
as in
something,
any
so.
dual movie, we get kind of back and forth, right, from the
Two perspectives.
Yeah, the two perspectives.
cop,
So
the
we understand that
supervillain.
Travolta is fed up and tired because it's been 6 years and they've been searching for this guy. You know? And then we get back to Nick Cage, stages a bomb, headbangs to Hallelujah. That's
Yeah.
not even how that goes.
Gropes a woman.
Hits on a young choir girl and makes a meme. What a montage without being a montage.
So good.
Yeah, he hasn't even said any words, has he?
No.
Hasn't even said it. I don't even think he said anything at this point.
No. And then we meet his brother Pollux Troy. So that
Right.
there's an intro there.
So they're the Castor and Pollux are the Gemini twins in Greek mythology.
I
And
did
in
not
the
know that.
In the constellations, yeah.
I did not know
know
that
if, I didn't
either.
know if y'all knew that. Anyway,
So
sorry.
that's creative
Yeah, something
for a 1997
Their sister-
action movie.
Their sister is Helen of Troy in
Okay.
Greek mythology.
She does not make an appearance in this
No,
movie.
no.
Thanks for that education
She'll
lesson.
be in the sequel.
So next in Face Off, we learn that this bomb is set to go off for the 18th. Then we get like Face Rub number 2 and 3. back and forth. But then we get the suck my tongue thing, and that's one of my favorite things in the movie. I think
because that's like his thing, right? That's his familial thing. I feel like is like that's his face wipe.
Yeah,
Nick Cage's is. It's
so
like
we're
tongue
seeing
sucking.
him and his brother get on this jet, and this jet attendant or flight attendant or whatever you
Right.
want to call him sits on his lap, and then we get an amazing quote in this movie.
I can eat a peach for hours.
And then tells her to suck his tongue.
But right before he said suck his tongue, he said something else to like throw her off.
Where should I send flowers? He was like saying something nice. Where should I send flowers or something? Or should I just let you suck my tongue?
Yeah, and he sticks that tongue out and she does it.
Yeah. Real quick, before they get on the plane, they hand him like that box of stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Two gums, Trident, come rubber bands, or whatever else is in there.
It was Chiclets, Bazookas Joe gum, 3 joints, a bunch of blue pills, a pocket knife, and like I think there was something else in there, but I'm not sure what it was.
Two
But it
big
was
ass
like,
gold guns,
The
right?
guns.
well, that's what he had
yeah.
on, like strapped to his back or whatever.
That was
So he just starts smoking a joint immediately. So he just gets on the plane smoking a joint.
hell yeah.
And his brother
Yeah.
obviously idolizes him.
So
it's like the typical little brother syndrome.
this
right?
this is also the Nick shtick. The guns were his idea with the dragons and them being gold and, and the box being a dragon box. Like he brought that to the movie.
Okay.
Huh.
And John Woo was like, yeah, man, cool.
So after this, we find out that the tongue sucker is an FBI agent, and then we get the first, what I'm going to call Archer versus Troy.
Sure.
This is where we learn that they're kind of bitter rivals. We've seen this.
Kinda. I think we learned that with the first scene.
Well, I know that, but I don't think Archer knew Troy shot his kid, and maybe it materialized. He knows. I get it. He knows. And then I wrote Archer can fly, or John Travolta can fly a helicopter like an air show. Like it's fucking mad skills. Like this dude's putting it down on an airplane. He's making mad turns. He's getting in front of them. He's doing flips and shit.
Yeah, dude, this scene shows you that Sean Archer is like unhinged in and of his own way. He's like playing chicken with the plane and ready to like just straight crash on into the airplane till he miraculously sees that lady in the cockpit, and then swerves out of the way.
You're right.
You should have just crashed into the plane the way that lady ended up.
Yeah, you're right.
And then they crash the plane in the airplane hangar, and that's when we get this John Woo thing you're talking about, where Pastor Troy jumps out of the side of the plane like Deadpool with the guns blazing sideways.
Yeah.
Incredible though. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's awesome.
It was. Did you guys make a note that Con Air ended with the plane crashing into a building, and this movie started with the plane crashing into a building?
No, that's awesome though.
The next thing I remember about this movie is the what I call the Joker Batman explanation. You need me, and that's.
Oh yeah.
I put a lot of themes of Batman in this movie.
Okay.
And when I watch it, it reminds me of like one of the one or two Batman's one or two.
Right.
The Michael Keaton ones.
Okay.
And there's a lot of correlation here, but I'm going to explain a little bit later. But you get this Joker Batman explanation to me right here where, Pastor Troy says you need me because once I die or once you stop chasing me because it's been 6 or 7 years, you're going to have nothing left, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't know how he was going to navigate, and we actually get to see it here in a couple of scenes.
That is true.
But that's a pretty cool one. And then I put Sean Archer killed Pastor Troy.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, but
Sorry.
it's like the third.
Yeah, now we're doing it.
Yeah.
Now you got it planted in my head.
I know. It was like the third time you said
Castor.
it. But
Castor.
yeah, so yeah, it kind of comes across like he kills him. But real quick, did you guys also see one of the cops that got blown away? Like somebody shot him. The strings are clearly in the shot.
Yeah.
The next thing we do is we meet Archer's family. This is John Travolta's family. He's got a daughter, a wife. We see they're kind of middle class. His hunt is over because he finally killed Castor Troy. Case closed, movie over. It was kind of like one of those things where it was trying to end it right there.
It's like,
but you knew we had a whole movie to go.
Right. Yeah, it's like I
That could
got
have been
him.
a short film.
Got him. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty cool. And I said, wait, Castor left something behind, a massive bomb in the Kennedy Space Center. Turns out it was a convention center, but I thought it was like the Kennedy Space Center.
Oh.
Because that rocket thing he put it in.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, he leaves something there, and there's going to be like a judge convention or something, something dumb like that.
Yeah, there was going to be like Supreme Court justices there.
Yeah, that's it.
So the next thing that we get in this movie is let's explain Face Off. Good idea, right?
Yeah, they have to.
Then Travolta's character, Sean Archer, says, what other options are there? This sounds terrible. And then it starts beating up like Nick Cage's entire crew or Castor Troy's entire crew. You know, I put,
Nobody's
Castor's
talking.
accomplices intros. Some of them are pretty good. Like they introduced these characters to the movie. So you really respect his like home base and his crew later in the movie, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
They're already slightly established. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Travolta wants revenge so bad that he's going to cut comatose Castor Troy's face off, cut his face off, put Castor's face on
Switch
him,
faces.
go as Castor. And I said, at this point, we just really need to suspend reality for the rest of the movie, or you're going to have a bad time.
Oh,
No, absolutely. Like, yeah,
We knew this was coming, right?
it's absurd. It's absurd. It's like, well, how are we going to find this bomb? Like, only Castor knows, and he's in a coma, and his lady's like, well, I've got this medical facility. Just hear me out.
yeah.
And then the transformation is like, whoa, over the top. Like it's everything from, cutting around the face. I got there's personal barbers there cutting hair. That was weird to me.
Yeah, they what was it? It was like laser trimmed hair or something like
But
that.
they had like hands and like scissors cutting like hair.
So one of the things they said that they were gonna do that obviously they didn't show was like micro hair transplants or something
Right,
because
yeah.
Nick Cage is so much hairier than
Then Travolta,
I guess, or something like.
Yeah.
The shit was crazy, and not to mention they have two completely different body types, like completely different.
Exactly. And they're like, yeah, well, no, we'll make it work with science.
So that's like the elephant in the room, right? Instead of face off, this should have been called body off.
Yeah, you suspend. Yeah, your belief.
You have to suspend reality here, or you're gonna have a bad time.
Right.
I think.
And I love how like they do the surgeries. I'm like, but my voice sounds the same. I'm like, man, fuck your voice. You just changed every goddamn thing.
You would add a scar all the way around your face for the rest of your life. I don't care. Like the best
Right.
surgeons in the world can't cover up
Right.
that scar.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's fun. Hey, great graphics during this transformation though.
Awesome
like,
90s graphics.
Everything from the side shots of the side of the face being just super red and like bloody,
Yeah.
and then in the guy's glasses, like when he walks up in the sunglasses, he's
Yeah.
got that
Yeah.
like Joker fucking smile.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like
I put it's very Two-Faced. Two-Faced
big time.
here. That's another Batman thing.
You're absolutely right. I like how one of the only rules is like he can't tell his wife. Like,
Yeah.
like why couldn't he just tell his wife, say, hey, listen, I'm doing something extremely dangerous. Should something go wrong and I show up as this guy, you and I have this secret password so we fucking know.
yeah.
And she's like, we could just do the face wipe. He's like, no,
I
too
think
many
he was
people know about it.
embarrassed. I think she knew that he's tried so hard for all these years and failed to catch this guy, Batman Robin, or Batman Joker.
The whole thing's silly, man. But it's the plot device, and we have to go with it.
I feel like we get a lot of Vampire's Kiss Nick Cage faces in this movie.
yeah.
Yep.
Like when Travolta, when he switched over and he's first, looking at his face in the mirror, we get a very like Vampire's Kiss type of smile. We get one later on when he's like on drugs and he sees Gina Gershon for the first time.
Oh.
He's like doing that creepy fucking smile.
Yeah, dude. It's
I feel like we even like hear the Vampire's Kiss voice a few times. I don't know.
maybe. I mean, it is. You get a variety of Nick Cage here. I want to talk about this guy, just real quick, about the psychological effects of putting your child's murderer's face on your face. Like, did he not think that through? Like, this is going to be fucking trippy, and I'm not sure I can deal with that.
Yeah. I mean, later on in the movie, I mean, to straight
break.
up jump to the end. I mean, he's like fighting himself and like basically kills himself, and it's like
or when he's on drugs and like he sees himself, you know,
it's trippy.
That's when he makes the vampire kiss face.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like flares the nostrils,
like
flips off the
goes
bed.
back on the teeth.
Yeah, dude.
All right, so I'm just gonna run through this real quick. The next thing we see is feet magnet prison.
Hell yeah.
So Sean Archer, who's now Castor Troy. This is gonna get real confusing. Go see Face Off.
Nick Cage, is now.
We can say Nick Cage and John Travolta. No,
But
we
it's the
can't
same.
because
You're right.
it's Sean. It's Finkel as Einhorn.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, so
The cop infiltrates the prison as the bad guy.
correct.
And in this prison, for the super insane, they've got magnetic boots.
And
which-
his goals are to get to Pollux, his brother, establish dominance. And I said, good acting by Nick Cage here.
Great acting.
Like the prison, the entire time he was in prison, I think he did an amazing acting job.
I think he does an amazing acting job in this entire movie.
Yeah,
I think he
true.
kills it.
He kills it, man, because he's also doing. It's layered. It's impressive.
Yeah.
He's doing a good thing.
I love the magnetic boot prison because it's just like they could still get in a fight and kick the shit out of each other
Would
with
take
these
the boot
magnet,
off
with
the
the
ground.
boots on.
with these magnet boots, yeah.
No
but as soon
doubt.
as he like puts them on and steps in, they play that like sound that's like
Yeah. That's exactly it. Y'all know what those the boot props are from?
RoboCop.
Super Mario Brothers, the movie. The Goombas and Mario and Luigi wore them.
Is that true?
Very. I checked it multiple
Wow.
times. Yeah,
Wow.
it's the same boot props. You can even see it on like the movie cover. I'll look it up.
And you're a boot guy.
And I'm a boot guy. We got our own line of prison boots coming out.
So let's move through this. Then when the next thing we get, Castor, Troy wakes up. And I said very two-faced vibes on this. Smoked cigs with no face, which is crazy to me.
I fucking love this. I love that scene. I love the jump scare when he wakes up, like just like him popping up. I love, like him like talking on the phone, like doing his best impression of somebody that doesn't have lips. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's great. They bring the doctor in. He's like, I helped myself to some of your fancy drugs.
Yep.
Yes.
Next, we've got he puts on John Travolta's face and then goes to John Travolta's family's house. He's now cool and smooth. We get this first daughter.
Hold on. First, he goes to the prison though to show that.
Oh, he goes to the prison, meets his rival.
Yeah, and gets his brother out of jail.
Yeah. Then he goes to his house, or Sean Archer's house, and now he's cool and smooth. The one thing that's memorable he misses the driveway, so he does. He's a little lost.
Right. Yeah.
He's
doesn't
finally
know-
got his nemesis.
Right.
Meets up with the daughter, which was the creepy part. You thought at first, but then turns out he wants to be a cool stepdad.
Yeah.
He's still being a little creepy.
Yeah, it's still a little creepy, man. I mean, he's saying some things and making some insinuations.
Next, we switch back to Sean Archer, Castor Troy, Sean Archer. Now we get his escape plan. It's pretty cool prison riot scene. We get that
Right.
sulfuric acid throw up and the shot to it.
Hold on, real quick. Before we get that, they get Pollux Troy out of jail or whatever. Nick Cage. God, this is getting confusing to talk about. Sean Archer, bad Sean Archer, whatever we call him.
Yeah.
Goes and diffuses the bomb or whatever. Becomes a hero for diffusing the bomb
Right.
that they set up or whatever.
Right.
When that happens, all the rest of the time in the prison, they're showing those weird nature scenes on that,
Yep.
on
Right.
that
Yeah,
giant
yeah.
screen
Yeah.
or whatever. And then for some reason, they're just showing this press conference of this dude diffusing this bomb in prison to all the prisoners for some reason. Like, it was just like, what is going on here?
Castor Troy's like, hey, be sure to broadcast this in the super maximum prison.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is my only demand.
That's it.
Then we get a prison riot, the roof jump, and then we find out this prison is under the ocean. And like, I guess that's super maximum security, right?
It wasn't.
guess
It was
so.
on like an oil rig or something.
Yeah, that's what it looked
like,
like.
yeah, but like,
I don't
feel
think it
like
was
the
under
prison
the
was.
ocean.
I don't know.
I think it's Bruce Willis's oil rig after he
Hey.
died in Armageddon.
Thought about that too. So then we get Mikey Archer's birthday. Obviously, this is a kid that got killed in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
We've got to remind Sean Archer, a.k.a. Castor Troy, that he's got to go see his kid on his birthday. You see a bit of the maybe sympathy here, maybe not. Maybe he's the realization that he killed this kid.
I don't think he has any sympathy.
No,
Okay,
there's
maybe
none
doesn't
there.
I
have
think
any
he's
sympathy.
like visually annoyed that he has to like deal with this thing.
Right.
The next thing I loved.
Which Travolta does a good job of that. Like, I think he does a good job in this too. Like, he's a good bad guy. Like, I hated him the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. He was a good bad guy.
And I might have to disagree. One of my favorite things in this movie that happens next is the APB on the radio for Castor Troy. Like, it's like, how long ago was this? Like, it.
Everybody should know this supervillain. They shouldn't even have to put
Should
an
they
AP
know him?
I mean, right? He's
His
out
name
killing kids,
rings
setting
out. So
bombs.
if you see Castor Troy on the radio.
And everybody just thought he was dead, but guess what? Now they're putting an APB out on him, and like, I'd be like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is a supervillain.
Then
He's the
he.
Joker.
So the first thing he thinks to do
I
is
mean,
go.
also Archer is a super cop because, like,
Right.
let's be honest, he was on a fucking oil rig in the middle of the ocean and he jumped off the top of it and somehow made it to land. Like,
Yeah, no kidding, man. Did y'all know Nick Cage really jumped off that?
shut the fuck up.
Promise. No lie.
I don't believe that.
I don't
Look
believe
it
that
up.
either.
200 feet. And to overcome his fear of heights. That is
Like
him.
into water,
Into water.
dude. That is insanely
Dude,
dangerous.
I read a bunch of facts. Like, we'll talk about him. Those boots, him jumping off that thing. There's a part he has an interview where he's talking about the prison fight where he's screaming, "I am Castor Troy."
Yeah.
And he's like, I lost my grip with reality for a moment. And like, you can see it in its face. He's like, I guess he thinks he's Castor Troy.
Yeah.
Like, or thinks he's Sean Archer who's become Castor Troy. I don't
Sounds
know.
like Nick Cage.
It's wild.
yeah, there's the layers of that character. man.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump back
For a
and forth.
fucking action movie. Like it shouldn't have that many layers for the movie like this. You know what I'm saying? But it's
It is so surface, right?
So we're continuing to jump back and forth in the movie. Sean Archer is now back with Castor's crew. Then we get the drugs, the immediate introduction back to the crew, and let's take some what was that, like Alka-Seltzer drugs and a little bit of shot of water or vodka or something.
oh, I assumed it was like ecstasy or something.
Yeah.
And he takes it, and they're like, "Hey, Castor, we know you've been away for a while. What do you want to do next?"
You want some Alka-Seltzer?
And he talks about his run-in with Sean Archer and how he slept with his wife and he's his mortal enemy. And then we get this awesome quote.
I'd like to take his face off.
It's
Yes.
So then, like, after he says this, we get I said Gina Gershon makes her appearance in this movie, but it's like so quick, and then it just cuts immediately away from her. We come back to her within like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know how many minutes it took, but
maybe you really
think
are.
we know.
because we're
Peter's
jumping back and forth in this movie. So the next thing we get is the fucking Danny Masterson scene. And I know we didn't bring this up in the cast. I didn't want to bring it up
Have to,
because this is insane to me.
Yeah.
That this guy plays this role in this movie by an overpowering boyfriend or date in a car who is
Right.
on the borderline of sexual assault.
Yeah.
And incredible like moral compass by Castor Troy,
right?
Who's
Yeah.
playing Sean Archer at this point.
Yeah.
But we get Danny Masterson, and like, goddamn, dude, like literally, what, 10 years later, 15 years later.
Multiple convictions of
The exact thing that you were
rape,
acting about in this movie.
Yeah,
It
it
is
was longer than
weird.
that he was convicted. But I mean, he was probably fucking like sexually assaulting people at this time. Like,
Right. He probably
in
nailed his
life.
tryout.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
man.
not funny. It's fucking gross.
It is.
It is,
But
but it is interesting that Castor Troy is like, I'm going to go save Archer's daughter here.
and then gives some of the best advice of the entire movie
You're
right
right.
after this. He says, if you dress like Halloween, and if
Ghouls will try to get in
ghoul,
your pants.
and ghouls will try to get in your pants. And
Yeah.
like,
Do you have
can-
protection?
Yeah, and gives her a fucking knife.
A butterfly knife.
And like, you
So
gotta
90s.
think at this point, this guy, I mean, he's a mass murderer. He doesn't care. He doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't have anything. I
Right.
think he's changing. I think this is
You
where
think he's changing?
I think he's changing.
I mean, maybe
He wants to be
but-
protective of something. He wants to be nurturing.
Yeah, maybe. It also might just be it's like something new that he's never done before, so it's like kind of
Right.
like he's getting into it because he's getting into like the home life with the wife and shit like that, which would
Oh, he's
never,
super into
which was never really didn't seem like
his
it was going to
thing,
be
yeah.
his thing. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You knew this knife was coming back to like
No doubt.
Like it
You
was
show-
100%. Like
Yeah, because
I mean,
they showed it in slow motion. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
anytime they
Like,
show something in slow
you
motion,
knew
like
this
that,
was coming back.
And it was super cool looking.
Anyway, now let's jump back over to Castor Troy because he wakes up to Gina Gershon, kind of edgy, kind of doesn't know who this is, but
Right.
somehow
She's trying
he
to
he
yeah.
studied him so hard that he knows all these things.
Right.
Like,
well, he interviewed her earlier, right? He knew.
Sure.
He knew the story. He knew the background. She tried to suck his tongue, but he denied it, and I'm
Yep.
like, Travolta.
No, yeah, you can't.
Bro.
You can't. Bro.
Yeah.
Deny that.
on,
like
know-
you're in a
you
whole
know-
other world.
Castor Troy, he's banging your wife.
It's.
Does he know that at this point?
Oh, he knows it.
I think he has
couldn't
an
remember-
idea.
I couldn't remember if he had if he talked to his wife yet or whatever.
He hadn't talked to her yet, but he knows in his heart of hearts. Like he has there's the transition. It's like they're kissing, and then it fades into him in prison, looking at himself in the mirror, and he's like, he knows.
All right, so
just knows.
let's move through it a little bit. So Pollux is spying on this, tips,
Right.
Sean Archer, which he knows the difference between them now. He
Right.
knows who's Castor, who's Sean, whose face is whose, whatever. Pollux is the
he's
only
clued in.
key to this whole thing, I
Right.
think, at this point. So then we found out Castor Troy has a kid, but it's really Sean Archer finding that out, right?
Right.
And then we get another face rake.
Oh yeah, he gives
we
him
get
a face.
we get the
wipe.
face rake for the kid.
Dude, that fucking reveal though, where he was like, "Oh, these are nice clothes," and she's like, "Yeah, they're yours." He was
Right.
like, that's a nice looking kid. Yeah, he's yours.
Yeah, it's like the light bulb goes off. Come on, dude.
Then we get the shootout scene is great.
Although it could have been her brothers.
Yeah, Sean calls Sean or Castor calls the FBI. We get the big shootout scene, so he doesn't care about his friends, his wife, his kid, or anything because he wants to kill all of them.
Yeah.
So they don't know he is Castor Troy. While Somewhere Over the Rainbow is playing in the background of the shootout scene, and I thought it was done beautifully. It wasn't the normal Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It was like this jazzy version.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job specifically on playing that over that shootout scene.
and that's a callback to one of those movies, Juicebox. It was I don't remember which one, but I read that it was a callback. He did that in another movie.
Played Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, in slow mo, kids listening to headphones during a gunfight.
During this montage, we get Jenna Gershon is with the bald-headed drug dealer dude.
Her brother.
Her
Yeah,
brother?
That's her brother.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So is that Castor's kid?
Wow.
Whoa. She wanted to shave her head for the role too. He got
What?
the brother got the role, went out and shaved his head. And which is
Wait,
like
her
a big
brother in
no-no.
real life
when
or
you
her-
get cast for something, you don't go
Yeah,
out
you
and
don't
do
change your
something.
life.
Her brother in real life or the characters? Her
Characters.
brother.
Character.
Oh, I did not know that until right now.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Gershon.
Would that have been better? I guess.
Gino Gershon.
Anyway.
Dude, I just wrote down Gina Gershon is a fucking terrible parent. Like, straight off the bat, she is the
terrible.
worst fucking parent.
Dude, that kid picks up when he meets Nick Cage or whoever. He picks up one of the golden guns, almost blasts his ass. I was like, oh my God. That would be that'd be tragic and also kind of awesome if that's how the movie ended.
All right, so the next thing we see is Pollux is dead, is what I wrote. He gets that one last shoe tie from John Travolta.
From Big Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The tie-in of the shoes. Let's get back into this real quick because we haven't mentioned it, but earlier in this movie we missed something. It was an appearance by Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
I did not know this was Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
I just thought she was like an extra in a movie.
Just a side actress. Okay.
Yeah. And I think we have a clip from this from her acting. Like, she had like 3 lines in the whole movie.
It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Sir, did you just have a surgical procedure?
What do you mean?
Oh, well, was the stick successfully removed from your ass? Sir.
So that's like after, he's come back to the office and he's cool Archer now or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to pull that sample out because it's like, who the fuck would say that to their boss? Honestly, man. Like,
in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, even if your
Right.
boss was like seeming like they're acting cool or or whatever. Now,
Right.
like, why the fuck would you say that? Like,
Especially like earlier in the film, they tried to congratulate him for something, and he got all sad and sentimental.
yeah.
So it's like, he's not. That's ballsy.
So after this shootout, let's shoot back over to the Archer household, in which basically at this point, I'm going to try to get through this. Castor Troy goes in and convinces that his wife that he is Sean Archer,
Mm-hmm.
and
With the foot massage.
and that Sean Archer is Castor Troy.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
And
Yeah.
so they devise a plan to
And it works.
it does work, right?
Right.
They knew, Travolta was coming back to the house, so they devised this plan, and it's successful, right?
Yeah, it was the blood test plan to
Yeah.
get his blood and
Yep.
check it or whatever. Yeah.
That's what he told her because she's a nurse or a doctor.
Yeah,
And-
she takes the blood sample and goes to the hospital in the middle of the night or whatever and runs it. And as soon as she gets the results, Nick Cage just creeps out of the background
right.
I knew you'd be here.
I thought you'd show up. It's like, fuck, man.
So then we get a funeral, right, for this Victor Lazaro or
Right.
whatever.
The granddad in Fargo.
And this is where we're kind of set up for the final battle.
Right. It
oh
is.
my
God, I could not put my
Yeah.
finger on it, and I didn't look
Hell
him up. Yeah.
I didn't look it up. I was just like, that's that dude.
I hated that character in Fargo.
Hell yeah, he plays a good guy you dislike.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So now we're setting each other, setting the entire audience up for the final showdown, right? The final battle.
You're right.
It's, we know that Lazaro's funeral is kind of going to begin this thing. And then this fight scene is incredible, through the church, through, you even get a Reservoir Dog shit going on here, with the guns on everybody. I
Yeah.
fucking love scenes like
standoff.
that. Yeah, the standoffs are incredible.
Yeah.
so you're Sean Archer dressed up as in the face of your enemy. But why don't you get your kids out of there and your wife? You know you're about to have a showdown. Why wouldn't you get them out of there?
Who? Which person?
Do they believe him
Real
yet?
Archer as
So,
Castor, but
Castor.
he meets them at the Lazaro's funeral.
I
Why
don't
wouldn't
think
you?
they fully believe him.
He does try to get him out.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, why wouldn't the plan be okay? Immediately after the funeral or whatever, get the fuck out of there because there's going to be a shootout.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
yeah, they're still there hanging around. I'm like, get them out of the way. But sorry.
I think he didn't want to draw attention to himself because everybody still thinks he's Castor Troy, right?
Right, but I mean, he sent the dead kid's picture to him in the middle of the funeral, so that's a direct I'm here, my man, let's do this. But your wife and kid are standing beside him with his henchmen. So
Yeah.
wouldn't you get them out of the way and then make your review?
His kid wasn't there. She was somewhere else.
Was
and
she?
He, and he
Okay.
tried to get his wife to go away, but she was like, she said it would be too suspicious or whatever. So she had to go to the
so
funeral.
she had to.
That was like part of the thing, because if she didn't go, he would know something was up or something.
But
I mean,
let's
like,
talk about like
put
the
a bathroom break in there and.
let's talk about the crescendo of this movie, because this fight scene not only goes through a church, through a funeral, to everything. Now we got speedboats, right?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
Travolta or fucking Castor Troy in Travolta's body escapes in a speedboat,
You're right,
I think we get the best part of the whole movie.
dude. It's
do.
one of the biggest action things ever.
We're talking explosion after explosion after. I'm a boater. They got some skills on these boats, right?
This has to be one of the most epic chase scenes like ever, right?
Big time.
Like it is insane. Like it is just 100 miles an hour. Like you said, there's explosions everywhere. At one point, Nick Cage drives a boat through another boat,
Right.
Yes.
launches off of it, doesn't slow him down at all, lands in the water, is still right next to the other boat.
just going right along. I read it took them 4 weeks to shoot the boat scene.
Which is
And-
insane to me.
Because they did all practical effects. They didn't do any CGI other than in some of that surgery stuff. But they use animatronics and things
Yeah.
for that too. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's like, how many boats you go through?
Dude, yeah,
least
like
one.
a ton.
that's
Do you guys feel like, was there like a period of time where like boat scenes were like popular in movies?
Miami Vice.
Sure.
Right, but I feel like James Bond did one, right? There was
Yeah,
a big
quite
like
a few,
boat
yeah.
chase scene in a James Bond movie. There was a boat
In-
chase scene in one of the Indiana Jones
The
maybe.
third one.
Like
Yeah.
I
Big
feel
time.
like all around
Yeah.
this time, like maybe within like a 6-7 year period, there was like
A
several
lot of
big boat
Silk
chase-
stockings. There was a couple of episodes where there were like
I
boat
don't know.
chase
This
scenes.
is also is when Baywatch started making its started becoming like super popular too.
That
right?
is true.
I did hear that John Woo was heavily influenced by silk stockings.
All right, so the boat scene's over. I think we're coming to the end of this movie, right? So
Yep.
let's move through it real quick. Basically, the wife tells the bureau that they have each other's faces and to believe this guy.
They just believe
Yeah,
her.
one phone call
Yep.
from
Yep.
his wife.
Yep.
That's it. Not that this wife, like, not to discount her, but
Yeah.
maybe she has a little bit of trauma or something. This lady has been through a lot.
A ton.
And now she's coming to the FBI with this wild ass story that no one knows about. Like,
Dude, it was like a minute and a half of just explanation to end the movie.
Yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, I called.
If
so-and-so.
y'all didn't
It's
get
cool.
it at this point, here we go.
yeah. Dude, I just want to say real quick, though, the end of that action scene when the boat crashes and they're both flying through the
Hell
air and then
yeah,
it, like,
yeah.
slams down behind them and explodes. It's just like,
Pure.
I'm not
action.
even huge into action movies, and that's what I've kind of realized these past couple movies. But when that shit happened, I was like, "Oh fuck,
Yeah.
Like I was on the edge of my seat at my house.
pure action, dude. It's
That is
great.
true.
That's great.
So we end this movie with one big questionable final scene. And I know we got to get out of here. We're kind of dragging
Sure.
on. But this final scene is 100% worth mentioning. Like, the dust settles, we've got Castor Troy dead. We've got Sean Archer with his face back.
Right.
And we've got the introduction of Sean Archer back to his family
Right.
at this front porch.
Right.
You guys have anything to say about this? For
I
your blank
mean-
stares, I say no. All right, so I found this website, and I was blown away. My mouth was open. It was called the website's medium.com. And I just want to read you a very short paragraph of the explanation of this final scene.
Okay, I think I know it, but go ahead.
Have you read it?
I go ahead.
It says John Travolta, who is now the good guy again, has just had his body battered and beaten in combat, and then he's undergone major reconstructive surgery with a medical team who is presumably pretty new at this, since the crew that usually does the procedure was set on fire in the previous week.
Right.
Where is Travolta's family during this operation? Are they still at the hospital praying it all goes well? Nope. His wife's at home, casually browsing the internet, and his daughter is in her room. What about when he wakes up from, again, major reconstructive surgery? Did they come to get him and drive him home? Nope, he's on his own. In fact, it looks like the hospital didn't even bother to call them.
Wow.
So it explains like the casually strolling in the door.
Yeah.
I think that is hilarious.
This could be more of an introduction to the kid than him coming back home, right?
Completely agree.
Right.
But, all right, let's talk about that then. So Travolta casually strolls in the door, embraces his family, then reveals that he's brought home Adam, Castor Troy's kid, who we met earlier, and whose parents died in the final fight scene. Travolta encourages his daughter to show Adam this new room and happily drags his wife in, says, gives her the eyes, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But think about it, and you brought this up earlier. The first guy who offers to take this kid after his dad dies is the mortal enemy of his father.
I mean,
the guy who killed his dad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I mean, imagine the childhood of this kid.
This kid is going to be...
I feel like the first thing, instead of showing him to his room as the first thing, they should have shown him to his therapist.
No doubt.
It's the equivalent to me of like Kill Bill Volume 1.
There you go.
When Veronica or Vivica A. Fox's kid watches her get murdered.
That's you're absolutely right. I think it's funny you focused on that because I had a different question at the end of this movie, and it was, do you think Eve is going to miss that peach eating contest that happened?
She'd probably be a little wistful.
like,
I know he was a serial killer, but damn.
Boy,
it was
date
great while it lasted.
Night was hitting again.
Fucking peaches all day.
So real quick before we jump into these other segments, were you guys surprised at all that there was not like anything that left the door open for like a sequel?
So they originally made a different ending, and it made it more ambiguous, and the test audiences didn't like it, and they went with this. They wanted this.
How could it be a sequel? Like Pollock or Castor Troy's dead.
Right.
I mean, you thought he was dead at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Like they're taking people's faces off and like changing people's body shape. I'm sure they could have like kept him alive or done. Who knows?
So then it's going to be even more unbelievable for me that somebody can take your face off, put it back on, take it off again, and put it back on, and there's no fucking lines.
Real quick, there is a company in the movie called InGen, which is a fake genetic research company that is also in Jurassic Park. So this face-off in Jurassic Park could be in the same universe.
Wow.
Possibly. And then also a sequel.
So Laura Dern could be like fighting like at the Avengers with like Castor Troy in the future.
That's right. Laura Dern's.
I can't even wrap my mind around
I know.
It's like Captain Planet.
Yeah, we know what Captain you would be. But the sequel was optioned in 2021 also. And I don't think it's gone anywhere since, but it's been somewhere in development.
I see it all over the internet. It might be clickbait, but it says like they've greenlit Face Off too, with both actors.
What?
Yeah. So look out in 2026. We might get Face Off 2. It will not be worth it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we like to do a couple of segments. One is movie marriage, which two movies and you think inspired this movie or influenced this movie. We used to say two movies got together, had a baby, and the baby would have been this movie. Face Offs. I'm gonna go first. I mentioned this first because a couple of themes throughout the movie. I got Batman 2, or Batman Returns, and I've got Freaky Friday as the other one. I think it's kind of a mix between both, with a little bit of True Lies on the side. Is what I put
for the action.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Okay, I'm with that 100%. I also had Freaky Friday for the swapping, and I had Judge Dredd.
Ooh.
Because there's a little bit of the wrong guy going to prison, and the real villains out there causing havoc. Blah blah blah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So I had another John Woo movie, Hard Boiled, which I was talking about earlier, and I had Demolition Man, and that was more just because of like the nemesis type.
I like
that aspect of it. Yeah.
I do like that. All right, so those are the movies that inspired us, or what we thought about when we thought about Face Off. If you've never seen it, maybe you've seen one of those. Anyway, another segment that we have before we rate this movie is called Tagline. That's where we take the original tagline of the movie or something you would see on the movie poster. We read it, and then we tell you what we think that tagline should have been. So without further ado, Juicebox, what is the tagline for Face Off?
Face Off. In order to catch him, he must become him.
Yeah,
That's a good tagline.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna beat that.
No, it's a good tagline. I mean, I don't know if I've got mine are kind of silly. Face Off. It's like looking in a mirror, but dumb.
Face Off. More like body off.
Cut everything off but his face.
That's right. That's right. That's funny.
I have Face Off.
What a predicament.
All right, I got one more. Face Off. Sean is Castor. Castor is Sean, and he's eating Eve's peach. Sorry, I'm really on to
Hey,
that.
I
picked up on
know.
the one thing out of this movie.
Yeah, you really latched onto that.
I did.
So it's like random side thing. Does it bother you guys in movies like when people are smoking inside and they're like trying to hide it? Like let's not tell mom you're smoking inside. She's gonna be able to fucking smell a cigarette.
Somebody
inside
who
your
doesn't
house.
smoke is going to know immediately as soon as they open the fucking door.
There's a reason people don't smoke inside, like
Anymore.
in their house.
Yeah, it's gross. Two quick things. I read that the first scene shot for this movie was when Cage infiltrated the Archer's house to convince Eve, and it was shot the day after Con Air wrapped.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And then
He's
also
just making that money, and then
So
in
he
the
just
mid-90s.
took that wig off and just walked into the next room and started acting opposite of Joe
immediately
Dowd.
walked across the studio lot. and
You're
then-
telling me that wasn't his hair?
Don't know. No idea.
I don't know.
Maybe he immediately shaved it into that little.
Got a haircut and just
Yeah.
went into it.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that was his hair, but I could be wrong.
All right, let's move on to our ratings for Cast Off. You've been listening to this entire episode. You probably want to know what we think about it. We have a 3-tier rating system. I have chosen to go last this week.
Oh,
So I want
being
Old Boy to kick us off. We have a best, middle, and worst rating. Let's hear what Old Boy's got this
Hit
week.
Yeah, he's awful damn good. I think I got the best one.
I really enjoyed the movie. It may be nostalgia. I mean, the plot is absurd. The action is over the top. But man, I think Cage did such a good job because he's not only acting his character, he's also acting like Travolta, and he's picked up Travolta's like cadences and mannerisms, and like they studied each other for a little bit. You can tell, man. I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a good rating.
Yeah. So I saw online that like they hung out for like 2 weeks
Couple of
together or
weeks,
something like
right,
that.
yeah.
Which also wasn't it like he did like a 2-week bender for leaving Las Vegas, and there was something else he did like a 2-week thing on. Like that's just his cram session.
Just
Is
give
2
me 2
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah, and
Give me
I'll
2
figure it
weeks.
out. I honestly thought he did a better job playing the Sean Archer character than even John Travolta did, like at the
Yes.
beginning and end. Like I felt like
Yep.
he was a better Travolta was a good bad guy, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Nick Cage absolutely killed it in this movie.
Yeah, he's awful damn good. I think I got the best one.
Also giving it the highest rating, and I'm giving it that rating, even though like I said before, like I'm not super into action movies anymore. So it's like these
Sure.
kind of wear on me a little bit. Like the second time through of Con Air and The Rock was kind of like dragging on me.
Right.
Second time through on this, I was like fine with it. It was like still fresh.
All right. I guess it comes down to me. Here's how I'm going to explain it. This is.
Wow.
I don't know if I would watch this a bunch of times.
This is about that kid?
Thinking back on it, it's not about the kid. Love the casting in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Love the boat chase scene. Love, the prison riot scene. Like, there's a lot of great action going on in this.
Please tell us how you're going to shit on it.
I'm not going to shit on it. I'm just saying in today's time, let's go back to 1997, all the rage, right? Big blockbuster. Sure, it made a ton of money at the, at the movies, like tripled its profit, whatever. It's so hard to believe now. Like, it's almost like going back and watching RoboCop and, like...
RoboCop's awesome.
It is awesome, but, like, it's just so hard to believe these things exist.
Oh, I mean, ain't nobody believing it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I did suspend reality, or my belief, or whatever it
You want
is.
me to fucking believe it? You want me to watch Armageddon? And
All right,
some
here.
Shit?
All right, it's great. Nick Cage is great.
Sure.
Some of the acting's great. I love the bald-headed drug dealer dude. Love Gina Gershon.
Yep.
I fucking hate John Travolta, and
Cool.
like that's where I'm split, and I guess I'm going down the middle
Because of Travolta.
because of
All right, I'm a little
Travolta.
tired,
Wow.
a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.
You know what, Nick? You do deserve appreciation because your acting in this movie is incredible. It is
Right.
one of the best performances, I think, top 5 we've seen since we've been doing this, hands down. You give us a little bit of everything in this movie, and I think Nick is the reason. If John Travolta wasn't so fucking bad and I just if he wasn't that bad, this would have gotten my highest rating.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that's how David Caruso was for me in that one movie.
Yep.
Although that movie was not even anywhere close to this.
Right.
So you're right, man. Nick Cage, like you get every Nick Cage in this movie. You get rom-com Nick Cage. You get like straight acting Nick Cage. You get fucking over the top Nick Cage. You get like every single fucking version of him.
It's it.
Damn, is this
We
the
might
pe-
have
is
to
this the
we might have
peak?
to rank his
this is-
performances and say I think this was better than Leaving Las Vegas, and he won a fucking Oscar for that.
Dude, he nailed this.
He really did.
Before we get out of here, Juicebox always likes to tell us what else was going on in 1997 in the theater while Face Off was debuting. It's a fun little exercise before we get out of here. So what was happening in the summer of 97?
So real quick, like according to IMDb, the budget was $80 million and worldwide gross was $245 million.
I mean,
so that's
wow.
pretty damn
Yeah,
good.
it's boss.
Opening weekend, $23 million. And it was facing off against I didn't mean to.
It's all right. No. We enjoy those.
Batman and Robin, which was
Clooney.
number 1 the week before.
A lot of hype. That was the worst one.
Okay.
Of
It
all the
made
Batman
$50
series.
million the week before, which is wild.
Who was Robin? It was Ethan. Not
No,
Ethan
Chris
Hawke.
O'Donnell?
Chris O'Donnell. Ugh, gross.
Actually, so Con Air only came out 4 weeks before.
Damn.
Con Air came out 4 weeks before fucking Face Off.
Wow.
They probably had
That
to-
is insane to think about.
Nick Cage is making so much money in 97.
Dude,
He's about to buy an island.
Yeah.
he's about to lose it all. Anyway, Lost World, Jurassic Park, Speed 2, Austin Powers, Fifth Element.
You're right,
Fifth
because we
Element's
just
awesome.
did Con Air, and all of these movies were in the
Yeah.
theater at the same time.
Oh, The Saint, your favorite.
Oh, man.
Elizabeth Shue, Val Kilmer,
Yeah, maybe we have to rewatch that one.
drooling.
We're gonna start a Val Kilmer podcast. Anyway, so those are the main ones. But man, I'm just now realizing that it was only 4 weeks after Con Air that Face Off came out.
Dude, Nick's killing it, and we kill it each and every week on reviewing Nick Cage movies for this series we call Casting Cage. We've got some interesting things coming up. 1998's City of Angels, followed by Snake Eyes, which we'll be excited about that.
The G.I. Joe film?
I just want to read it because I know neither of you have seen
G.I. Joe
City.
prequels.
I know neither of you have seen City of Angels, and the only reason I know about it is because the band the Goo Goo Dolls wrote a song called Iris, which happened to be their biggest hit, and it was for this movie, City of Angels. I didn't know if you guys knew that. Let me let you...
I did not know that.
I'm going to read the plot for you, the very shortened, abbreviated plot, so we know what we're getting into next week. This is a story of Seth, an angel who wanders
Hate it already.
an angel who wanders the Los Angeles area invisible to humans. As the demise of an individual approaches, he spends time near them and becomes visible while acting as their traveling companion during their trip to the great hereafter. His discovery of distraught heart surgeon Maggie inspires him to forego his immortality and exist on Earth with her as a feeling and mortal entity.
Man, if that was the quick recap, I'd hate to hear what the long one was.
It's the movie.
It's a rom-com, or not even com. It's a rom-drom.
Sounds hilarious.
So I've never seen that. I've never seen Snake Eyes.
Same.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I've seen 8mm.
I don't think I've seen it either.
But we're coming up on a bunch of movies that I have not seen. So.
Which excites me, man. Like that's I like seeing movies I haven't seen. So I'm pumped. Maybe not about that first one, but the other ones.
But anyway, we love doing this each and every week. You can find us on buckysbasement.com. We're on YouTube. These episodes are like beautifully shot and lighted or lit on our YouTube. We're on every one of your favorite podcast networks. Thanks for listening each and every week. We really appreciate it. You do it because of the love of Nick Cage, but we also think you do it because of us. And wherever you're at, no matter where you are in this world or how you're feeling, we always want to remind you to
tell your mama and them.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land